Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for taking the time to check out today's stream. So, of course, we're going to be going over a pretty unique topic in today's stream where we're going to be discussing fitness and loneliness and how to use healthy habits that can rebuild structure and confidence. So, before I do get started, again, guys, if you're not aware, I do have a website, which is bponlinefitness.com. There's a ton of information on there related to online fitness coaching, as well as ways for you to learn out more information related to fitness and nutrition and recovery. I always make sure to keep my website updated as often as possible. And again, give you guys really effective information that you can take with you and that you can truly benefit in your workout routine or if you're trying to get started in a fitness routine. Another thing, too, guys, is that each and every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I do these live streams here on YouTube. If there's any topic that you would like me to discuss further in any of these streams, feel free to let me know. But I do three streams a week. I do one on TikTok as well as on, of course, YouTube and also, of course, on here on YouTube or TikTok, Facebook, and then YouTube. Sorry about that. Um, and thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Um, but again, guys, I really thank you for your time. I really appreciate all the support. I've been working really hard to get this YouTube channel going, and it's taken a while, but I think it's coming along pretty well. But with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and talk about this topic, discussing fitness and loneliness. And I think this is something that you'll be able to take some information from. This is a topic that I can really relate to in a lot of ways, especially throughout my journey in fitness, is because fitness has kind of become a way for me to basically find myself a little bit more. Fitness has been a way to, of course, a lot of the reasons why I pursued fitness, and I've discussed this before, is because it is something that I feel like needs to be approachable to other people. I think it's something that can be very hard to get a grasp on if you don't have somebody who is fully understanding on where you're coming from. And that's again why I decided to pursue being an online coach and helping people in that way, is because I always felt like fitness was a really big barrier with me. It felt like I wanted to be active, but I didn't really have a support system, I guess you would say, or support system was not, what I was expecting. Now, I did have, I grew up in a family that was very, focused on fitness in itself and really becoming, staying more active was kind of a big thing. But the thing with me and my journey is that it did take me a while to really get adjusted and really find my direction as far as my own personal journey. And what I want to discuss today is how you can use fitness in a way to where it becomes sort of this release in this place of finding, calm. I know this sounds weird to say, especially when it comes to fitness itself, because it's not something that's necessarily calming, because it does take effort to do. But one thing that I've found with myself and since I had started is that it does, when you change your perspective and you change your mindset on how you see fitness, it does become way easier to approach it. When you approach it as a way to, escape, as like I've mentioned before, I usually see it as a third place. And if you've never heard the term of a third place, that's basically where you have your work and you have your home life, and then you've got what's in between, which is known as your third place. So I usually see that's what I see fitness as, even though it is partly my work, it still is an escape for me in a lot of ways. It is a relaxing thing for me. So, again, that's what I want to discuss, and I want to sort of challenge you in changing your perspective on it. So, we're going to be discussing five particular topics in this particular live stream. We're going to go over how fitness can rebuild structure during lonely seasons, excuse me, the confidence effect, why isolation often destroys healthy habits first, using fitness as a form of self respect instead of punishment, and how small daily habits create emotional stability over time. So, again, like what I've mentioned before when it comes to fitness, is that it's not necessarily about the benefits you get from it physically. There is a lot of mental and emotional benefits that you get from it, but a lot of it comes from how you approach it. So why the gym can become a safe space during lonely seasons. And I can relate to this completely because when I had started my journey with fitness, really getting serious, I'd always kind of been active throughout my life, but it wasn't until really 5 years ago that I had started to really take it seriously. And when I started to take it seriously as I did, it did become this sort of calming. It became a way where when I didn't really have any friends or I didn't have that many people around me and I was sort of going through the motions, it did become an escape for me. And that's like when you think of, like with me, there's a lot of different escapes that I have. I think we all have different escapes that we can go to that give us that peace. And that's how you really need to focus on approaching the gym in that way. When you build consistent routines, this gives the mind and body a sense of direction. When you stay productive, when you stay in this mindset of building a routine, it makes a lot of your day automatic. And so, what this does is this really puts your mind in the proper headspace. Training sessions create a purposeful structure during emotionally difficult periods. This is something that's really related to me. I've walked into the gym many times where I was going through a lot of different things, but I knew that like there was times where I didn't want to go through the session, finish or go to the workout itself. But once I had actually took the time to get through it, it was worth it because I did feel so much better after that. And it just brought, again, a sense of calmness. A lot of times you'll hear where people will say, you know, you won't regret basically missing a workout, or excuse me, let me see how to word this. I want to say it the wrong way. So the workout that you miss is usually going to be the best workout. So don't, when you have those days when you feel like you don't want to show up, usually those workouts are usually going to be your best workouts. Another thing too is think about a lot of this too outside of the context of the gym too, is that when you build simple habits like walking, meal timing, hydration, and sleep routines, these all improve emotional stability. And this is something that I've mentioned previously before, is that when you build a healthy routine, especially like if it's the gym or if it's any other healthy habit, a lot of times that single healthy habit basically, again, like what I've mentioned before, it quote unquote becomes a gateway drug to better habits. So when you focus on building one sustainable healthy habit, it makes you want to improve every other aspect of your life in a positive way. So that's another thing that you can think about as you're building those healthier habits, is that it becomes a way for you to find ways where you can improve every other aspect of your life. Fitness provides small daily wins that rebuild confidence and self trust. Every workout that you go through is a win. If you think about it, the fact that you're showing up and that you're putting in the effort, whether you may not have actually reached a particular, personal best or PR, whatever you want to call it, whether you've not reached any of those milestones, the fact that you show up and you put in the effort is a win in itself. And I think a lot of times we get into this mindset where we feel like we have to constantly win in each workout, but it's not, the wins don't have to be these massive milestones. It just needs to be the small wins. Showing up is a win in itself. Taking the effort, because a lot of people don't even take the effort, or they don't build that discipline to show up, whether it be, going to the gym, whether it be any other healthy habit. And so the fact that you're doing that is in itself a win, and that's the way you should see it. Movement also helps reduce mental stagnation and creates momentum instead of oscillation. So when you move, it does give your mind, again, it helps to clear your head. If you do walking or you do any kind of cardio, there's a sense of calm that you do get from that particular type of exercise and activity. So again, see all of these different points. Like I said, this doesn't necessarily have to be in the context of the gym. It could be any healthy habit in particular. So the confidence effect. So confidence naturally grows when you consistently keep promises to yourself. Confidence, one thing that I think a lot of people fear when they get started with a routine is that they feel like they have to have all of the answers, they have to have all of the knowledge in order to get started. But that's not the purpose of building a healthier habit, and that's not the purpose of going into the gym or creating a routine. The purpose of doing that and building a routine is to build that confidence through the process. As you continue to show up, confidence naturally becomes boosted every time because you are, again, creating this routine, this loop. And so you're keeping promises to yourself when you continue to show up. Small daily habits create evidence that you are capable of change. Training regularly, training regularly builds physical strength and mental resilience at the same time. So, like I mentioned, you're not only building that physical strength when you show up to your workout and you put in the effort in those workouts, but it is challenging your mental strength at the same time. That mental strength, again, is going to translate to how you can handle other things that can happen in your life. When you build mental strength in one way, it's going to translate in every other area. Consistency again creates momentum even when motivation is low. So a lot of times we do hear people say that they want to stay motivated, or they want to be motivated every time they go into the gym, but that motivation is always a temporary boost. It's never going to last in the way that we think it'll last. And that's why a lot of times you'll have people that when they get started with a routine and they're just really gung ho about it, when they get started and they're very focused on it, they stay focused on it for a period of time, but then they continue to rely on their motivation, and that feeling of being focused on it kind of wanes. That's why when you, again, I hate to bring it up, but like New Year's resolutions, that's what happens with the New Year's resolutions is a lot of times we focus on, yes, we make this goal, but this goal becomes so broad and it doesn't have a clear roadmap. We don't have a detailed goal to go by. And so when that goal is not detailed enough and when we don't have that motivation, we stop it. So you cannot rely solely on that motivation. You have to build a routine that is helping you to be consistent. Consistency is the big thing you have to rely on. Progress often starts before confidence fully appears. Again, when you become confident in something, it takes time. It is something that is about putting in the reps. When you put in enough reps, and you go into that uncomfortable situation, when you go into that uncomfortable environment enough times, you do gain that confidence. And when you start to gain that confidence in one single area of your life, whether that, of course, be the gym or any other healthy habit, this makes it so much easier. And again, it translates to any other obstacle you're trying to overcome, or you're trying to build a healthy routine in a different way outside of the gym. It translates to all of those other habits. So, again, like I mentioned, this is not necessary. It is about focusing on a fitness routine in the gym, but a lot of these things interconnect with each other in a lot of ways. So, why isolation often destroys healthy habits? This is another thing to think about as well. And this is something that, again, why I've made it an emphasis with fitness and why I've made my focus on helping, people who may not be as comfortable with the gym or may not have that support system. The reason why is because it helps when you do have somebody that can be there with you, when you can have somebody that can hold you accountable in a lot of different ways. Healthy habits are easier to maintain when daily life includes connection, accountability, and a routine. Isolation often disrupts structure, making sleep schedules, meal timing, workouts, and recovery less consistent. Stress and loneliness can increase emotional fatigue, which lowers motivation for movement, meal prep, and self care. So many people stop prioritizing themselves when they feel disconnected from others or unsupported in their goals. So, one thing you have to think about, if you're somebody who struggles with that aspect of being held accountable, or somebody who really needs that push, it is very important for you to find, again, this doesn't have to be a personal trainer in particular. It could be somebody who is like a mentor, or like a friend, somebody who can really help to push you and help to give you a sense of support. That's another thing that can really help you to stay dedicated to your routine, is to have that sense of accountability, whatever type of accountability that works for you. And so when you have that support around you, it does, again, add this additional benefit to your routine. When you have a routine that's consistent, when you have that support system, it makes these things so much more seamless to complete. Isolation can increase comfort eating, under eating, binge behaviors, excessive screen time, and inconsistent recovery. So when you stay isolated, when it comes to not being around anybody or not having that support system and that accountability, this can be very difficult to, again, build healthy habits. It does help in a lot of ways to have somebody there to support you. And I think, too, this is something that I've dealt with myself, especially when it come to building my business. One of the things I had to do is I had to have like a coach to help me whenever I started my business. And that's like with the same thing what I'm doing as a fitness coach and helping others who need that accountability. It's the same concept. I think we all at some point need somebody else to hold us accountable and somebody else to give us, again, that sense of support and that sense of guidance. And that's how I had to. That's, just because I'm a fitness coach, it doesn't mean I didn't have a coach helping me. I did have to have somebody to help me when I was building my business, or somebody, when I got certified. I had to study that. I had to really get the knowledge and the research, and I had to have that information, and I had to learn from that and I had to have some kind of accountability to get that done. And so when it comes to accomplishing something, especially a milestone, like when we're talking about fitness, it does help to have that support system with you. It helps you have those people that are going to be there throughout every single obstacle and throughout every sort of struggle that you may go through in that routine or anything to that effect. Again, what I'm saying here is that you don't have to have particularly a trainer, coach, but it does have to be somebody who can be like a mentor and somebody who can help you. In other words, if that makes sense. Using fitness as a form of self respect instead of punishment. This is another thing that you need to think about as well. And again, a lot of what we're talking about is really about shifting our mindset, shifting how we approach things. Fitness becomes sustainable when workouts are driven by care for your body instead of anger towards it. So, again, think about fitness as being a way for you to, again, build that self respect, make it something that is focusing on you taking care of your body outside of just focusing on the physique aspect. Punishment based training often creates burnout, guilt, inconsistency, and unhealthy relationships with food and exercise. So do not see your training or your nutrition as a form of punishment when you're doing workouts or when you're trying to create a meal plan or anything to that effect. A lot of times we do see it as a punishment, but you have to see it in the way that you are doing this to better yourself. It is a form of self respect. Self respect focuses on building strength, energy, and confidence, health, and long term quality of life. Workouts should challenge the body and not become a way to earn food or punish yourself for imperfections. Like what I mentioned when it comes to, our workouts and when it comes to nutrition, especially with the clients that I've worked with, a lot of times what I'll tell them is that you do, especially when they start out, is that you do not have to have everything figured out all at the start. The way you have to approach things is piece by piece. Do not see things as you have to have everything perfect and everything has to be properly aligned. So just because something is, maybe your meals weren't as perfect one time around, maybe your workouts didn't turn out perfect, for one week. That is just a temporary thing. You have to see it as, again, focusing on showing up, improving in small ways each session. That's like when I talk about nutrition. When it comes to nutrition, a lot of people think they have to get rid of anything that's completely, not related to their particular goal. And that's a good mindset to have, but the thing is it does not become sustainable when you've already had that environment. The way that you can change that environment to get rid of those unhealthy foods and those unhealthy habits is not to completely eliminate them all at once, is to gradually take them out piece by piece. And that's the way you make it sustainable. That's why, with diets, a lot of people want to get rid of everything all at once, everything that's completely unhealthy. That's, again, like I mentioned, that's a great mindset, but the way that you can make it sustainable is taking things piece by piece, slowly integrating those healthier foods in, slowly, again, building these healthy habits so that they become consistent and sustainable in the long term. Because if you make things like a sense of punishment, it becomes so much harder to stick to. So workouts should challenge the body and not become a way to earn. Well, I just mentioned that point, but again, it's the same. I do want to reiterate that is that you don't want to see it as punishment for those imperfections. So recovery, sleep, hydration, and nutrition are also acts of self-respect because growth happens through support and not constant destruction. So again, don't see all of this as punishment, but as a form, again, of self respect. So, how small daily habits create emotional stability over time? Emotional stability is often built through small repeated behaviors and not dramatic life changes. So, that's just like what I just mentioned previously with the nutrition aspect, is that it becomes sustainable when it's piece by piece. Daily habits create structure, and structure helps reduce mental overwhelm during stressful seasons. When you create these daily habits, that's why meal prepping and meal planning makes things so much easier because it gets rid of the decision making. When you get rid of a lot of that decision making in your routine, it makes things more automatic. Consistent sleep, hydration, movement, meals, and routines help regulate energy, mood, and recovery. Small habits give the brain predictable signals of safety, control, and stability throughout the day. Again, going back to that concept of getting rid of the sort of decision fatigue, having things be automatic. Exercise improves stress management by helping regulate nervous system tension and emotional pressure. So, exercise in itself, again, like I mentioned, it's not physical. There's a lot of mental benefits, emotional benefits that come with exercise. And outside of that, other healthy habits that you can build is also going to be a great benefit as well. So that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. Again, there was 5 different points I wanted to discuss here today, and I pretty much went over those with you guys. I hope that what I discussed here today was helpful and valuable, and that it gave you a little bit of insight on how to approach fitness and how to see it in a unique way. I think that's what makes it really successful to accomplish a goal related to fitness is when you do it in a proper mindset, when you change how you see things, when you change your perspective. That's something that I mention a lot of times if somebody is interested in working with me as an online coach, is that I always mention that how you approach, a routine should be about a shift in perspective. Don't see everything as, trying to win in every single workout. It doesn't have to be big leaps. It just needs to be small wins every single day. And so, again, when you build those healthy habits and those routines, it is what is going to build that confidence. But the only way you can do that is when you stay consistent with it, when you build a proper structure, when you build a routine too that's going to work around your daily life, that's going to help as well. So, with all that being said, guys, I really appreciate your time. I really hope that this one's insightful and that this gave you a little bit of thought to think about when it comes to fitness. I will again mention my website. It's bponlinefitness.com. There should be a link here on my YouTube profile where you can go to my website directly. So definitely check that out. I do have all my social media links on my About section in my YouTube too. So that is there for you to access if you want to check out any of my other profiles. Again, guys, every Thursday I do these streams here on YouTube, and I will be doing another one next week. However, in the following week, I will be having a lot going on. So the schedule of these streams may change slightly the following week because of summer coming up and I'll be traveling for a short period of time. But I still plan on, keeping these live streams as consistent as possible. But I'll keep you guys updated if anything changes. But there will definitely be a live stream next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, guys, feel free to reach out if you have any questions on anything I've discussed, whether it be this or whether it be any of the live streams I've done, any of the videos I've shared here on YouTube. It could be my shorts or, again, my other previous live streams. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. But with all that being said, guys, I really appreciate your time. I really do appreciate the support here on YouTube. My channel has been growing, and I'm continuing to do everything I can to continue to grow it. And again, I want to continue to share my journey with you guys. But I do appreciate your time. And again, I'll see you guys next Thursday in the next live stream. So thank you guys once again for watching.